Okay, so we will be dealing with the principles of language learning. Okay, this is a very important topic and easy also. So it is relating to principles. It is called as H.E. Palmer's Principles of Language Learning, or language study. It is called as. So you will be asked a full-length question on this, maybe for, say for 10 marks. So you will have to write all the principles of language learning which H.E. Palmer. He has given the principles of language learning and teaching also, it is called as. So basically it is Palmer's principles of language learning. So let us see, there are 9 principles you should remember. So full length question is asked on principles of language learning, which is for 10 marks. And in short notes, they may ask you specifically, maybe with one principle of language learning, say for example, principle of initial preparation, or they may specify. So they may specify one principle for your short notes, which would be for 5 marks. So you should be prepared for both the 5 and 10 marks language learning, principles of language learning. Let us learn one by one. Understand the principles very clearly. I will be forwarding to you all the notes also, so do not worry about the same. Wherever I am giving you certain examples, you could just write also those examples, because examples would not be available in any textbooks or any downloadable material. So whichever I am sharing with you all, please jot it down so that you can add it in your essay or class test or in your final exam also. So in many of the exams, this question has been repeated. So this is the important questions in Palmer's principle. So let us see the first one. It is called as principle of initial preparation. Now, when I say initial preparation, how would we prepare the students initially for the lecture? So when a teacher is going to teach certain topic, maybe a language teacher, she has to ensure that there is a rapport built with the student. The spelling of rapport is R-A-P-P-O-R-T. T is silent here. So initial preparation, this teacher has to make the students prepare physically and mentally to be present in the classroom. So how would she make that? She would do that, say, through certain exercises like ear training exercises. Okay, ear training means she can give certain passages, certain audios where the students can listen, and then they will be ready. They will be ready for the attending the lecture. Moreover, she can create a rapport with the students by way of asking some previous questions, which all of you have done in the lessons also. Usually by asking the previous questions, the students would be able to know what is the topic to be dealt with today. So the teacher has to build a rapport with the students to make the students be ready to accept whatever the teacher says in the classroom. So that is called as principle of initial preparation. Okay. Second is principle of habit formation. How do we cultivate habit? We cultivate habit through practice, through repetition, through imitation. Okay, remember. So the students also should be developed. The habit should be developed among the students, maybe by way of imitation, maybe by way of repetition, maybe by way of exercises, drilling exercises, it is called in English. So the student should be made to learn the language and to develop it as a habit. Like some we in a day-to-day life, if we do not cultivate the habit of speaking English, what would happen is we are not going to have the habit of speaking properly. So that is the meaning of developing the habit. If you have the practice of speaking constantly, continuously, maybe with your family, maybe with your friends, maybe with your teachers, what is the advantage of that is you are able. So if you could see, as I told you, the principle of habit formation, where the students have to be cultivated the habit of, say, your speaking, especially relating to skills. Remember, there are 4 different skills in learning English language. LSRW, first lecture also I have told you, that is listening, speaking, reading and writing. So in this, only if there is certain habit created amongst the students will they be able to develop the competence in the respective skill. So the teacher has to provide lot of habits or exercises. Even for spelling, if the students have made certain spelling mistake, the teacher has to provide a lot of drilling exercises so that the students may avoid the repetition of the spelling mistake. Okay. Next is principle of accuracy. Now, what is the meaning of accuracy? Means correctness. When I say the sentence is accurately and grammatically correct. Suppose if I frame one sentence, rain today morning. Okay, suppose I frame one sentence like rain is morning today. I'm just framing that sentence. So if you see the sentence, it is not grammatically correct, but definitely it has a meaning in it that the rain is raining today. Okay, so that means the teacher has to follow principle of accuracy and grammatically correctness. She has to make the student learn the correct formation of the structure, the lexical situation, the structure. So she has to create in the classroom the whatever teaching she is going to do in the classroom, the students have to be accurate in that. So if she is going to give certain essay on one topic, or when she is asking a student to write a letter, she has to ensure that the different parts of the letter is being positioned at the right place. So though it is correct, it may not be accurate, and vice versa. So she should ensure that everything is proper, accurate and correct. Accuracy in the sense the tenses which is being used. Okay. The degrees of comparison which is used in a sentence. The parts of speech which is used in a sentence. Everything should be accurate. So she has to ensure, and she herself in her teaching learning post process has to ensure accuracy in terms of spellings, in terms of formation of sentence, in terms of formation of structure of a sentence. Everything she should be, the accuracy has to be followed with correctness. Okay, correctness, though it is not being given separately, you include correctness also here. So accuracy means writing the proper thing at the right place. Okay, without any spelling errors, spelling mistakes when we say. Okay, you have to give example, say the framing of sentence, there is a girl standing outside. This is proper, correct, as well as accurate. So girl stands on a bench today. If this is framed, this is called as though it is having the sense of meaning in this. It is not accurate nor it is correct. This is how you will have to give example. Now coming to principle of gradation. Now gradation, you know what is the meaning of gradation is moving from easier one to the difficult one. That means the teacher has to start with listening skill always. She has to ensure that it is growing one after, it is moving from one step to another. So grading in the senses, giving the sentences, simple sentences first, then moving on to difficult complex sentences, gradation. Similarly, when I say gradation in terms of ears before the eyes, what is the meaning of ears before the eyes? The students will first listen to the teacher and then only will speak. This is gradation. Okay. Second gradation can be in terms as drilling followed with independent speaking. What is the meaning of drilling? Means what? First giving them exercises, first giving them practice. So practice before actual speaking, practice before actual writing. So this is called as gradation. You grade the thing, you follow from simple one and then move on to the difficult one. Okay. Similarly, when I say moving from gradation can be moving in terms of maybe your reproduction skills before production skills. What is reproduction? Just imitation. The student listens to the teacher and is just going to repeat that to the teacher rather than independently speaking. Okay, so that is called as reproduction before production. So reproduction means just repeating whatever the teacher says and then giving their own examples. Similarly, in this also we can have that even skills have to be also bifurcated properly. There should be gradation in terms of how much has to be spoken in the classroom, how much has to be written, how much has to be listened. Many things we have to plan properly in the classroom. So the teacher grades the entire lesson in say parts and pieces so that slow and steadily the students are able to comprehend. Next is principle of proportion, very this thing important. Gradation and proportion also goes hand in hand. When I say proportion, a balanced approach. Okay, when I say something has to be taught properly with another thing, both the things have to be well balanced. So when I say skills, at any time this writing skill should not be more as compared to your speaking skills. If it is a small class, if it is a lower level, say for fifth or sixth standard, we have lot of say speaking exercises, less of written exercises. So there is proportion. So a teacher has to plan out the proportion of different skills in her classroom based on the level of the standard or the content, whatever content she is going to teach. So one proportion can be with reference to the skills. Secondly, when I say proportion, we can have controlled proportion with we can say composition. We can have controlled composition before, then free composition follows. What is the meaning proportion of? When we have controlled and free composition in a class of say 6 or 7, usually we have controlled or guided composition. Here the teacher plays a very important role to act as a guide to the students in order to how to write, yeah, in order to know how much to write in say the different types of your composition. When I say creative composition, I refer to the students doing independent writing work, and they are more creative in say 9th and 10th. We have creative composition, imaginative composition. So proportion means the teacher should know how much proportion guided composition has to be given to the student, how much proportion of creative composition has to be given to the student. So gradation also, the level, the amount, and this proportion is division between the two skills, how much to what extent. So that is called as proportion. Similarly, we have another important thing is especially in composition, as we have guided and free composition. Similarly, in case of letter writing also, we have guided composition. Means letter writing is a kind of composition where the teacher acts as a guide to facilitate learning by the student. So she should know how much composition should be guided, how much composition she can give it for the students for free. It should not be too much of say speaking skills in the classroom, less of writing skill. So the student, the proportion will not be proper. Secondly, if the students are given more drilling work than independent work, so that means students more they do work then they are doing it independently. So this should also be avoided. So some work where the students can write something, some work where the students can speak something, some work where the students can listen also to some. This is called proportion. Too much of anything is not good for the students. So there should be a balanced approach. That is what H.E. Palmer said. When I say graded and proportionate, there should be a balanced approach in terms of the skills, in terms of the composition. Yeah, in terms of the composition, even there should be a balanced approach. That is what Palmer wants to say. Okay, then we have principle of concreteness. As the term itself says, what is the meaning of concreteness? Like when we teach any topic, maybe with reference to your nouns or adjectives or verbs, or when you say even your tenses, we try to make our lesson more interactive using different teaching aids. So when I say concreteness, I refer to concrete teaching using concrete objects so that the students are able to understand better. Okay, so then so that is the meaning of concreteness. So in here you will have to give examples of say when you are teaching nouns, you are going to use certain objects also can be used. Suppose you want to show them the fan, you can show the fan in the classroom and saying that the fan, you can say it is also a kind of a noun where we have common nouns, so there are many fans in the classroom. Show the objects. Similarly, if you want to show flowers, you can tell the students to see the different flowers in the garden. You can bring a bouquet of flowers and show to the students. So you're bringing concrete things, live things to the classroom where the students can see and then they can understand. This is what H.E. Palmer is telling. Yes, let them come to the classroom, let the teacher teach to the students by using concrete objects, where the visual things, and also she can use objects. When I say concrete, the real objects. Okay, this can be used for teaching grammar, it can also be used for teaching prose. So in prose also, if you have certain topics wherein you can show certain objects, the students would understand better. That was the meaning of principle of proportion, the concreteness. Then next is principle of interest. Now tell me students, how can we cultivate interest among the students? What are the different ways of bringing in interest to the students? Maybe by way of using different teaching aids. Many of you have used in your English lessons, in your other lesson also, because this is the first time you're taking English. So in other method also you have used. One second. Yeah. In other method also you have developed interest among your students, maybe by way of your visual aids, teaching aids you have used to them, so that they are able to see, and they are able to they are more keen, and they are more attentive in the classroom. Some of the students are also in other methods, you have used different teaching aids. Maybe your quiz, maybe your crossword puzzles, maybe your assignment, so many things you give it in the classroom. But in teaching learning process, Palmer expects the teacher should use different techniques so that the students will develop interest. Like in some of the English classroom, I always try to use brainstorming. Brainstorming is a fantastic technique where we give the topic to the students. The students have to discuss on the different aspects of that. Suppose it is a corona topic, and if I'm asking the students to write an essay on corona, its impact on the society. If this is a topic given to the student, because it is the right time to give this topic to the students. So if I give such topic, what will happen is I tell the students, now come on, you all discuss, tell me what are the different things which is affected. So the students start thinking, they discuss among themselves, then they come out with so many answers. So they think among themselves. Similarly, discussion is also one of the method of teaching this in English. Thirdly, I can give quiz. I used to give quiz crossword puzzles when we were offline. So this is really unlucky, because online we cannot do many things here, because there is a lot of technical problems. So in regular classroom, we try to give them certain crossword puzzles. I'm also planning to give you a crossword puzzle on, say, corona, the different words, the language registers you have used. So different words with reference to so many things in different areas. I could give you a crossword puzzle, ask them to solve it. Let me see how many of you are able to solve it in how many minutes. So this way we can develop the interest among the students. Students will be able to learn their own the topics, and they are also able to the interest is cultivated among the students. So this is also one of the important principles of H.E. Palmer. Coming to this thing, rational order of progression. Now rational means it is we should give justification for the order of progression in our classroom. That means we always start a sentence, we do not start a sentence directly, we always start with a syllable, then we also have a word, then we have two words, then there will be phrases, then there would be sentences, then there is different sentences, then there is a paragraph, okay, then there is a chapter. So that these are nothing but this is graded slow and steadily. Yet student cannot be taught directly A to Z in one class. No, he has to be taught from first to second, A, then to B, then to C. So it follows a that is rational order of progression. We should remember that the students are going to learn in the same way what we teach them. So especially students in the schools, we have to teach them the syllables and then move on to the sentences. Similarly, we have to start with listening and then move on to the other skills. So think of the progress of the students and then give justification. The students are in the 8th standard. That means they are familiar with the syllables, words, phrases. So I can ask them to tell something about idioms. Ninth, we are there is a kind of an attractism between the two, where many things join together. That is called as, maybe even qualities also. Some of your qualities may join together. You may find friends with whom you go very much. You feel that no, my friend is this one only because I'm able to share so many things with her. Her nature is also matching mine. So what is this matching called as? There's so many things which come together, which makes you bound together in a group. So that is the meaning of this saying. So in eighth and ninth also there are a lot of idioms. So where there is a will, there is a way also is a proverb. So whenever you have a willpower that you will do it nicely, you will definitely do it. So these things have to be taught in a higher level, higher standard, maybe say ninth and 10th. So that is what Palmer says, do not burden the student with so many things right from the beginning. It has to follow a sequence. When I say gradation also, there is a sequence. Gradation and sequence also goes together. It cannot be haphazard manner. We cannot teach language in a haphazard manner. It has to follow certain steps. It has to follow certain order. Okay, so all this have to be done with the purpose that the teaching learning becomes very effective. If so many things are burdened on the students, it may so happen the students may not be able to understand, they will not be able to comprehend the things better than giving them step by step. Okay, so that is called as a rational order of progression while teaching a language. The last important one is multiple line of approach. Now, suppose students, I would like to ask you a question here. Suppose you want to teach a student in your classroom, you are a language teacher. You want to ask the students to write an essay on, say, a railway platform. Okay, I'm just repeating my sentence. You want to ask the students to, maybe it may be 6th or 7th standard, giving them a short essay where you are asking the student to write an essay on a visit to the railway platform. What would you expect the students to write, or how will you go about the essay? How will you start the essay? How will you make everything to tell them to write? See, I may also think of one thing where I can take the student directly to the railway station and tell them to see, no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
best one. Let them see. They have seen. I will ensure their safety and all. I will not just leave them like that and come. I will take them. I'll take to the station and I'll tell them, you sit here for half an hour. Whatever you see, you observe, and then we'll discuss in the class. That's it. So they will observe so many things which we don't have to tell them only. Even a pani puri wala, they will observe in one corner, isn't it? They may observe so many beggars
Yes,
also
ma'am.
sitting there. They may observe the lights there. They may observe the announcement, which we will forget in the classroom to tell. So that is multiple line. So asking the students to learn certain thing using different medias. This is the meaning of multiple line. What is the purpose? If you use all these things to teach any topic in your classroom, what will happen? The students will be more interested. Students will also be attentive. Students will also remember throughout their lifetime. Now, whenever you are going to teach any topic on railway platform to any of your students, you will just remember, yes, the best thing would be I can use so many things in my class. That is the meaning of multiple. So teaching a content, teaching a topic using different ways, everything in the train and go, especially south. So what
Yes,
will
ma'am.
happen is,
Yes.
yes. So we used to enjoy that also. And little bit I told you about railway journey. You have brought so many ideas. That is the beauty, because we have experienced that. So these 10 marks question. Okay. So today we will stop with this. Tomorrow again I'll take a very simple topic.